Welcome to the Adam Rothstein Hockey Podcast. This is your podcast for all things hockey. On this podcast, we talk about past history to the modern day and what you can do to grow the sport. I am your host, Adam Rothstein. All right, let's get to the show. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good night. How are you doing this morning, everyone? It is Groundhog Day. It is February 2nd, and unfortunately, Punxsutawney Phil saw his shadow, but the good news is the lightning struck twice. And what I mean by that is that they won. They came back. You know, lightning might have struck in the beginning when they went up 1-0 against Boston in the first period, and then they proceeded to give up 5 unanswered goals. And I thought to myself, if I watch this game right now, why am I going to have to report on this tomorrow? But apparently, the Lightning decided to get their shit together and just go out and win. Now, it did take a shootout to get this done, and in the first time in Stadium Series history did we have such a comeback. And credit to the Lightning, for doing that. Now, Raymond James Stadium holds about 65,000 people, and I guess down on the concourse of the actual field of the stadium, I guess they were able to put a few more people down there. So there's that. But ultimately, the excitement could not be contained at the stadium. Just all around a wonderful game. So let's get into it. Now, Brandon Hagel did open the scoring 10 seconds in. Now, if you were to just watch the first few minutes of the game, and just come away, you'd think the Lightning would win, which, of course they did, but it wasn't that simple, too. Now, in the first as well, Alex Steves gets his 9th goal of the season, and Eseminat gets the assist, the only assist, his 9th assist, and then you begin to think, okay, their lower lines and their deeper core seem to be getting into it. Hey, happens to the best of us. Vasilevsky is only human. Morgan Geekie then gets into it. He says, no, you're not getting out of the first period without another one. It's with 4 minutes and change to go. It's 2-1 Boston. And even though the Lightning thought, hey, we're going to get out of this, only down a goal. Nope. Victor Arvidsson gets his 14th goal this season on the power play, and McAvoy gets his 34th assist. Morgan Geekie gets his 21st assist, and it's 3-1 Lightning. 3-1 Boston, not Lightning. All right, Boston gets another goal with Matthew Poitras, and Kastelik gets his 8th assist of the season. Now, that was his first goal, ever. So, first outdoor goal, credit to him. Morgan Geekie makes it 5-1 towards the middle of the second period. And we don't get anything until it. Oh, and then Oliver Bjorkstrand gets his 8th goal of the season on the power play, and that was very important as well. Jake Gunsel stepped up and Brandon Hagel stepped up for assists on that power play goal. And then then Darren Radis gets in there, 16th goal of the season, power play goal. Kucherov and Hagel get assists, all good there. Nick Paul comes in, it's 5-4, and I will talk about Nick Paul more about Nick Paul in a moment, and the video he did with Charles White. So Kucherov gets his 58th assist on that Nick Paul power play goal. 58. Many players don't even have 50 points at this point. So credit to Kucherov for just being one of the best passers in the NHL. And Gunsel stepping up to make sure Nick Paul gets it. It is 5-4, and we have a brand new hockey game. And speaking of Kucherov, he said, I'm going to get a goal in the middle of the third period, and he does. So, and that was the only goal of the third period. Then Jake Gunsel is the shootout winner of it. And now the overtime did start with a 4-on-3 power play because, you can't have only two players on the ice. And that's just not fair overall to the game. So it was 4-on-3. And then it was 4-on-4 for essentially what felt like most of the overtime. But it doesn't matter anyway because everyone has to go to a shootout. Gunsel got the game winner. Pasternak had to save it, but his arms turned into Pasta, and he missed the shot on Vasilevsky, and Bruins lost. Now, this is huge in the standings. And you have to consider this. Playoff seeding is everything. Now, Buffalo has only played 54 games at the moment. Boston just played their 56. So Buffalo has a little bit of room they can run and overtake Boston or possibly get into a third seat in the Atlantic if at all possible. So I don't know where they're going to get in if they get in at all, and Montreal has 55 games played already, so just one more than Buffalo. And I've been keeping my eye on Buffalo because, it's time for them to finally break their playoff curse and just get in. It's been since 2011. They've not been in there since I was a junior in high school. Think about that. And I'm going to be 32 years old in 1 week, too. So not since I was 17 years old. Essentially 15 long years since they've been in. And googly moogly, yes, I think that Tage Thompson is going to be your ace. And maybe Zucker steps up too. Who knows? But I think that the Sabres ultimately are going to find their way into the playoffs too. And if they find themselves facing Boston, I will take Buffalo to win that series. Now, Boston really got into the box a lot. There were a lot of penalties in this, but Boston took the cake, and they have over 220 penalty minutes, if I'm not mistaken, right now. 220 penalty minutes, and we're not even at game 70 yet. They're at game 56. You got to get your guys out of the box. You got to calm your guys down. You got to do meditation. I don't know what you have to do to get them settled down at that point, but I'm not confident Boston's going to get in. I think that, Columbus could still surprise you, but if Boston continues that type of performance like they did last night, they're going to be up a creek without a paddle. Just warning you at this current freaking moment. Okay, so the Charles White video. So Penguin Z0 went down into the Tampa Bay Lightning arena, which I should really know the name of right now. But so Nick Paul was there shooting on Charles White, aka Penguin Z0, aka Moist Critical, and Charles White could not do a butterfly to save his life. He could not do a butterfly. He was like barely moving, and I mean, like, and I could tell Nick Paul was taking it easy on him, but it ultimately was a good thing too for the NHL. Now I'm surprised the NHL did not promote this as much as it could have been, and that's just honestly a shame too, because Penguin Z0 is the most is one of the most notable YouTubers there is, and he's been to Lightning games, he's been to Rays games, he's from the Tampa Bay area, he has been born and raised in this area, and he's garnered so much support, and like 17 million subscribers, and I'm surprised the NHL did not reach out to him for more of a promotion, and I wouldn't have seen it if he didn't voluntarily go out and try and play goalie against Nick Paul and other beer leaguers, and part of the Tampa Bay Lightning organization that allowed him on the ice, because Raymond James Stadium was going to be occupied as well. Now I think there's another YouTuber, Michelle Carre, who could possibly, I don't know. I saw on her Instagram story, maybe she takes it, does a challenge and tries to become go through the hockey training and go through what I went through during my college days. I don't know if she'll do it, but maybe that's a rumor I heard. She might go down to the Staples Center, but yeah, definitely would love to see more YouTubers get into the mix of all of this. Okay, so quick recaps let's just go over the scores. Hurricanes win 3-2 in overtime against the LA Kings. That's very important to maintain their dominance out east. Kings, not sure what's going to happen with them. I'm not going to be surprised one way or the other if they get in. I think that you can only do so much with Anze Kopitar at this moment, but what are you going to do at this point? And yeah, what can you do? The Ducks won. Keenan Thompson was at the pregame with Teemu Selanne hanging out as well. Chris Kreider dominated this game, and it's because of him that the Ducks won. And I have to admit that I like them going back to the old Mighty Ducks logo personally. And personally, it's just one of the best logos out there. Golden Knights received no points as the Ducks win it 4-3 in regulation. So there's that. Blue Jackets are on the line too. They are right there. They could still, even though they're 6 points back of Buffalo, there's still a lot can still happen. And I mean, Boston could collapse. We've seen them do that before. So I think that now I'm not confident that the Capitals are going to make it. My Capitals, I think they're out at this point. I genuinely think that they're going to be out. Ovechkin's going to retire. He'll just be happy, and he'll just accept whatever the Capitals do at this point. Yeah, that's genuinely what I think. Now, Tampa Bay leads everyone out east, aside from Carolina, where they're tied. But from a technical but because only Tampa Bay has played 53 games, I'll rank them just slightly ahead of Carolina at this point. But I think that Tampa Bay could still get back into the finals. Now it's going to be very interesting to see if the Tampa Bay Lightning get in and they face off against Colorado and we have a repeat of 2022. Because the Florida teams just seem to be finding their way into the Stanley Cup Finals every year in this decade. And I don't know what you could say about this. They just seem to find their way in there. But I don't think the Panthers are going to be getting in. And I think Columbus could sneak up and overtake a Boston or Buffalo if either of those teams are not careful. So I did mention on the episode prior that the NHL Hits video game that came out for Xbox, it was like 2003, and they had the Boston Bruins facing the Tampa Bay Lightning in like one of their promotional demo, in the demo part of the game, where you're at the start screen and then it just automatically switches to the demo. I don't know if they still do that in video games, but it's been a while since those types of games were that simple. And honestly, I miss those. I miss those days personally. But yeah, it certainly did. It certainly did. That effect of them on the pirate ship and fans going crazy, it definitely had that effect too. And I almost forgot to mention, pre-game, they certainly went with the Pirates of the Caribbean theme, and it worked. The Boston Bruins came in as Patriots too, and the I don't know if it was the old Buccaneers uniform. Yeah, that's what the Lightning were too. The old Buccaneers, where they played at the the giant sombrero or like Tampa Stadium, or back in the day when the Buccaneers played there. But yeah, they definitely made this work. Now, I guess minor complaint, 30-minute delay. I'm sorry, get your times right. If you say that if puck drop is at 6:30, you have a 10-minute buffer, not a 30-minute buffer. This went so long, and I'm not happy about this at all. Why did this have to happen? Too, it's like 30-minute delays, But all was good, and this felt more like a winter classic than what we saw coming out of Marlins Park. I mean Lone Depot Park. And besides, you can fill that stadium easy. It's Miami, and Miami fans love sports in general, but apparently they can't fill up the Marlins. They can't fill up Lone Depot Park unless it's for a special baseball event or it's for a special concert or something of the sort. And that roof is not open very much either. But credit to the Lightning and the Bruins for putting on such a great display of hockey, and they got it done too. And I forgot who said this earlier in one of the breaks, but they said hockey couldn't work in Tampa. We have seen so much greatness come out of the Sun Belt in general, whether it was what comes out in Sunrise with the Panthers, whether it comes out with the Lightning out in Tampa, Vegas, San Jose, Anaheim, LA, Dallas, Raleigh. Atlanta did not succeed in this, unfortunately. Nashville is the only other one that's really shown, such success because they've made the Stanley Cup Finals. I think it just listed every team that at least made the finals. even in this century too, if you think about it, they've at least made it once. And that shows success of the sport, that it's grown so much. The Sun Belt, expanding to the Sun Belt, has done wonders for the NHL. And I think what we saw at Raymond James Stadium has just only proven that the Lightning are going to be one of the most successful franchises. And they're going to be staying put for a long, long time if they ever move, assuming they would ever move, but I'm not counting on that. I like what the Tampa Bay Lightning put up last night. And I just wish that the NHL would have put a team in Wisconsin, because hockey would have worked there. Can't think of much else at this point. I genuinely did enjoy this game, and even though when Tampa was down, I still watched it because I knew this game was going to be special regardless. But hey, I also got my prediction right. It was only a 1-goal difference too, because they won it in a shootout. So credit to the Lightning, and even though we had experienced a lot of penalties, a lot of good stuff happened. We did get a goalie fight between Swayman and Vasilevsky, and I told you, let the goalies fight. Let the goalies fight. They're the most protected, and they're the least likely to get injured because they have so much padding. So just think about that next time, NHL. So adjust your rules accordingly, please. It's getting tight in the East. Most teams do have an above 500 record, but it's just going to be too tight in the end at this point. It's also a little bit of a battle out west. San Jose is fighting with Anaheim at this moment, trying to get to the next position. Seattle has done surprisingly well. LA is in their wild card respectively. Utah could be back in their wild card depending on what happens with LA. 1,000,001 things can happen. I've written off the Blues, I've written off the Blackhawks, I've written off the Flames, and I've certainly written off the Canucks and the Jets. If they don't have a 500 record, I've written you off. And I've unfortunately written off the Rangers too, because this was supposed to be their year. And it just didn't happen. So there's that. Yeah. Been at this for about 20 minutes. Please comment, like, share, and subscribe. I love talking about hockey, and it has been, a gift to me, and it's only going to grow more popular, but there's still that cultural element that's just not broken in the same way basketball has, because most people don't grow up with this sport. So let's change that. Let's get this show going. 5 stars on Apple, 5 stars on Spotify, 5 stars wherever you are listening to this. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. If you're on YouTube, buy the audiobooks, buy my products, please, as well. Links for everything is in the description below. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, take care and peace out.